Good morning, everybody. So today is day 14 of our lockdown for COVID-19 in South Africa, and we are on episode 14 of our series, Help, I'm Stuck at Home. My name is Karen House, and I'm talking to Leanne Hunt today. And today I just wanted to consider the fact that we are 2 weeks into the lockdown now. And if it's going to be a 21-day lockdown, which is what was legislated, we now have a little bit of uncertainty because of whether it's going to continue or whether it's going to end next week. So
Yeah.
that's where I am at the moment, wondering. And
Mm-hmm.
Leanne, the title for today is When Will It End? So
Yeah.
perhaps you can give us an idea. Have we got past the worst, do you think?
No, I don't think we have in South Africa. I can't speak for the rest of the world, but quite honestly, we began our lockdown before we had any COVID-19 related deaths, confirmed
Yes.
ones. It was a very good uh, step on the part of the government. I think they took very decisive action early on. But what has happened is the increase or the spread of the virus has been slow, which means that 14 days into it, we have only 18 confirmed deaths. Or confirmed virus-related deaths, I should say, which means that if it only goes on for one more week, then we end the lockdown and it opens up, there could actually be a flare-up after that. There's a very strong possibility then that they'd have to continue the lockdown or ease it very slowly, step by step, and monitoring the effect of that. So there's a lot of uncertainty, as you say, about whether whether life's going to get back to normal straight away. I think there's a general feeling like it's not going to be normal for much of this year or until a vaccine is found. So we are really, it's an unknown. The
It
future
is
is unknown.
unknown because I also see, according to the South African COVID-19 website, is that as of late yesterday, early this morning, we were up to 18 deaths. So
Mm.
that is a little bit of a spike, more than we expected.
Yes,
So,
yes. It
so
spiked
moving,
yesterday,
yes,
which means that we're only just starting that upward curve.
right, yeah. It
Mm.
certainly makes us anxious. So, how is this
Mm.
uncertainty affecting you, Lee? What do you can say about that?
Well, I can say that there was a time when uncertainty affected me a lot. Particularly, I'm thinking long ago when my diagnosis of macular degeneration was first diagnosed. So
Yeah.
I was like 13 at the time. I couldn't imagine what the future would be like. I had no idea whether I'd be able to expect the same things as everybody else, like, get a normal job, drive a car, marry, have children, have a career. I mean, all that was uncertain to me.
Yes.
And as things went by, my eyesight deteriorated, the uncertainty sort of grew. Now, that could have affected me very badly, but fortunately, I had my faith and I trusted that God was good and that God had me and my future in his hands. And I think that helped me enormously because I began to feel less concerned about myself
Mhm.
and more reliant on that my own resources would carry me through, because my faith was that whatever I had experienced would prepare me for the future. So the kind of experiences that I had in terms of coping would enable me to meet whatever challenges came my way. And so I think I've developed a sort of a hands-off approach, with regard to these sorts of things. If things can't get back to normal very quickly, well, that'll be nice. If they don't, well, I'll manage because I've developed skills, if you like, to sort of cope with these things, and ways of thinking that mean that I don't panic and I don't worry. It's sort of whatever will be kind of.
Yes. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing your story with us. That's really special for us to understand that approach. And
Mm.
so, do you have some advice for us on perhaps how we can tame our anxious thoughts at this time?
Mm. Yeah, I think if you've come to the point of realizing that actually you have no control and you're in lockdown and the other people are determining what's going to happen in the future. It's really time to put your diary and your calendar aside and to stop fretting
Yeah.
about how am I going to make these things happen, the meetings and the plans and the holidays and whatever else that you've sort of had in your mind to achieve. You have to put that aside, and on a day when you're feeling particularly anxious, like say if today you woke up and you just thought, I'm not coping with this, it's too open-ended, I don't know, I'm going to suggest that we do a little meditation, and it's something that's helped me in the past. I think it's good for all of us. And so, Karen, if you'll join me, we can just do that
Yes.
with our listeners and our viewers and see how that goes. All
Lovely.
right. So
Please
if you
go
want,
ahead. Yes.
okay, if you want to close your eyes,
Right.
take a deep breath. All right. Now let's just picture ourselves on the chair where we're sitting. Let's imagine the room that is around us. See ourselves in context and imagine or picture the house in which we're sitting. Then widen the frame so that you see the surrounding buildings, a little more to see the street that you're on. And then in your imagination, notice the people on that street, locked in their houses, whatever they're concerned about today. Perhaps they've got a sick child, an elderly person that they're caring for. Maybe they're gardening. Whatever they're doing, their lives are different to yours.
Mm.
And expand the frame a little more to include your neighborhood, the wider neighborhood, the shops, some of them locked up. Go a little further out and see the bigger picture, the city, or perhaps you're in a rural area, so it's hillsides and meadows and animals. Notice the animals. Very few vehicles on the road. Why are there so few vehicles on the road? And what are the drivers that would be normally driving? What are they feeling? And then go further out to see your province, the size of the province, the weather that's happening in that province. Drifts of clouds and perhaps some mist, perhaps patches of rain or bright sunshine, and it's scorching the earth, the plants. And then go further out and you can see your country and its location and your continent. You can see the ocean surrounding your continent. And now you go further out and you can see the earth, the whole earth, and you can see it spinning from day to night and day to night. And further out you see our little speck, our little blue dot in relation to the sun. We are in the solar system. And as we are poised in the solar system, ask yourself, how important are my plans in relation to the planets and the stars and space? We see that our lives are really so small. And if we do nothing at all, it's not going to affect anything. It's not going to affect the spinning of the earth or the washing of the seas on the continent. And if we do everything that we'd planned to do, to work as hard as we can, to try and make as much money as we can, it's not going to affect the animals, and it's not going to affect the drivers driving along those roads who are distant from us. Or maybe it is. Maybe it is going to affect them. But we cannot know that. We cannot know one way or the other. So let us surrender. Let us just surrender to the spinning of the earth and the washing of the waves and the blowing of the wind and the scorching of the sun. And time passing And as we consider that, let's take another deep breath. And just try to relax into the fact that life goes on whether we are part of it or not. And with that thought in mind, let's come back to our house, to the room we are in, to the chair we are sitting on. Let's gently open our eyes. And let's remember that observation, that perspective that we got today of ourselves is very small in the bigger scheme of things. If you can take that kind of a perspective into your day, and if you can, well, I'm going to suggest that if you don't have faith, I think it can be quite alienating to have that sort of perspective. But if you have faith that God is out there, God is good, God is close to you on the inside, and life is a journey.
Yes.
And life evolves naturally according to processes which are beyond our control. If you can accept those sorts of things and then just surrender to the process, and maybe for today, just do nothing, just take it easy, just let it be. Whatever happens, let it be. And grasp that peace that comes. In the Bible, it talks about a peace that is beyond understanding. Grasp that peace for yourself today. And whenever you're feeling anxious, practice that little meditation I shared with you, because it really can, over time, it can develop a sense of trust that life will be good, will be, we can cope, and we can meet whatever comes to us with strength and resilience. It's not going to upset us. It's okay.
Right. Wow. That was wonderful. And it really does make a little bit of perspective when the theme is when will it end? It becomes less critical, really, about when it will end. And I read an article yesterday about, it was themed, parents are not okay. That was the heading. Parents are not okay. And a lot of parents, I think, they are working from home. Their children are schooling at home. They're cleaning at home, looking after everything at the same time. And on top of that, the anxiety. I think this exercise today has been really, really useful. And I hope many people follow that. Thank you very much, Lee. It was
You're welcome.
a wonderful session. And we'll chat to you tomorrow when we're on to day 15. Have a lovely day, everybody. Thank you so much
Yes.
for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.